Imagine a car that's got electric motors in every wheel, an onboard source to generate electricity, no mechanical linkages whatsoever, and a fuel more prominent than any element in the universe, with drinkable water as an exhaust.
Ah, très bien.
Fantasy? No. It's a hydrogen car, and it's right around the corner.
We strongly believe that hydrogen
Hydrogen will be the fuel of the future.
it bridges the gap between renewable energy sources and transportation.
It produces no pollution whatsoever, and it can be made renewably without any carbon dioxide production. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. About 92% of the universe is made up of hydrogen. I am Chris Bird, and this is my testimony about the future. We have abundant sources in the form of water and in the form of hydrocarbons that are under the ground, as well as in the form of grasses and trees above ground.
Well, as we all know from our chemistry classes, water is made up of 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen, H2O.
And in order to separate the two, we need to perform electrolysis.
The gas production stops instantly.
What this process does is it takes that molecule and splits it down the middle into its component parts, the hydrogen and the oxygen.
The hydrogen is separated and then captured as a gas. But how does this elusive fuel work in cars?
To get full use of hydrogen, you need a fuel cell car.
A fuel cell is essentially the reverse of an electrolysis process. That way you combine hydrogen and oxygen and generate electricity.
If you have hydrogen stored on the vehicle in fuel tanks, much like you do today with gasoline, but hydrogen instead, and you take air in, like we do today from the atmosphere, you will generate water and electricity in the fuel cell. The water goes out the tailpipe into the atmosphere, and the electricity goes to an electric motor, which turns the wheels around.
Take a look at the hydrogen chassis of the future.
This is the skateboard. This platform is highly flexible. Depending on the type of vehicle, we could change the length or the width. We could make it out of steel or aluminum or high-strength carbon fiber composite.
It's all housed inside here. Hydrogen tanks, fuel cell reverse electrolysis system, and 4 independent wheel motors.
The fuel cell generates electricity directly, unlike an internal combustion engine. And that electricity allows us to electrify other vehicle systems, like the brakes and the steering.
So the hydrogen-powered platform is a self-sustaining power plant for your car. But believe it or not, your future hydrogen car will also power your home. The fuel cell generates excess power that you can sell back to the grid.
Most of the time, your car is parked. In fact, we only use our car about 10% of the time. This gives us an opportunity to actually use our car to create energy that can be integrated into our utility grid. I'm Larry Burns, Vice President of Research and Development and Strategic Planning for General Motors. So this ability to use your car to create power really changes the role of the automobile from being simply a form of transportation to now being a mobile power platform.
So thanks to the hydrogen charge, while your car is parked, it can actually provide electricity to your home. Sold? Oh, right. There's that one thing. Hydrogen fuel is not a bomb. We don't include plutonium in the tank. Hydrogen didn't cause the Hindenburg disaster either. That was due to the ignition of highly flammable iron oxide and aluminum on the dirigible skin.
We forget the fact that when oil-fired cars first came in, many newspapers ranted and raved and said, "This is dangerous. You're going to be driving on top of a pile of gasoline. Any kind of car accident would make your car go into flames, and who wants to have a gas pump every few miles?" Well, that's the world of today. We do have a gas pump every few miles, and when we have a car accident, we do have to worry about the car going up in flames. Now, in a hydrogen economy, people say the same thing.
Hydrogen is a flammable material, and so is gasoline, by the way. So it has to be handled safely. Now, one of the differences between the two is that hydrogen is a very light gas.
So in many respects, hydrogen is safer than gasoline.
Hydrogen safer than gasoline? Believe it or not, yes. Hydrogen takes more pressure to combust, and it burns at temperatures that wouldn't burn your skin. But perhaps most importantly, because hydrogen is lighter than air, a leak diffuses completely upward. Gasoline spreads on the ground, creating more ignitable area. Still, as with gasoline, storing this volatile fuel is a top priority.
The tanks that store hydrogen are extremely strong and robust, even more so than gasoline.
The hydrogen tanks built into cars are made of incredibly durable polycarbonates and sit in the center of the chassis, away from impact. So, while hydrogen's safety is ensured, creating and distributing it cheaply to the consumer has been a major challenge. Until now. Welcome to Norway, where they've been getting hydrogen from water for almost 80 years.
Hydrogen is not an energy source, it's an energy carrier. So the primary input is electricity, which has to be generated from something.
You can make hydrogen from coal, but then you would have hydrogen and carbon dioxide, which is, of course, the climate gas.
If we can use energy that's made renewably, then we have a perfect solution.
At Hydro, we developed our own electrolysis process back in the 1920s, based on what is known as alkaline electrolysis. This process is essentially the same one we have been using since the 1920s, but it's been optimized and modernized several times since then.
We take electricity from the grid, but where we have made sure that the electricity we buy is actually from renewable electricity. We put electrodes into water and hydrogen comes out. We put them on the car and the only emissions are water vapor.
Now, wouldn't it be nice if that hydrogen could be made right where you fuel up, rather than expending more energy to cart it around? Well, the Norwegians have an answer for that as well. Right now, most of Norway's hydrogen is produced in massive factories, with huge vats of water, special electrodes, and sophisticated systems of storing hydrogen gas. The Hydro team has created an electrolysis machine to produce hydrogen locally, right at their pumps, which eventually means wherever you need hydrogen, you make hydrogen.
At your fueling station, where the hydrogen will be produced on-site, that will require smaller manufacturing machines or generators of hydrogen.
For the time being, our smallest electrolyzer is about the size of an American fridge.
The water comes in, it will be regular drinking quality tap water. Then the purification takes place inside the cabinet, then it's put inside the PEM cell, because there you need ultra-high purity water. Then the water is split into hydrogen and oxygen.
And the hydrogen gas goes directly into your car. It's almost as simple as watering flowers. So, hydrogen may be the fuel of the future, but it feels as if we've been idling too long on the entrance ramp, wondering, will they ever build the road? Once again, the Norwegians have done it. It's called Hynor, the Hydrogen Highway of Norway, a project intended to create both cars and infrastructure for a hydrogen society.
To address the chicken and egg problem of not having the fueling station, hence not having the vehicles.
And if it succeeds there, you may be driving not on I-95, but on H-95, as in hydrogen.
Bensin I dag, hydrogen I morgen. It means petrol today, hydrogen tomorrow.
When it comes to hydrogen, there's a lot of technical challenges, both related to infrastructure, getting the fueling stations, getting the distribution of hydrogen, getting the cars to be very safe, but also affordable.
So they've taken matters into their own hands.
We are actually going to convert a series of 15 cars. We will take the petrol system out of it, put in hydrogen, and then we will have hydrogen with internal combustion engine.
And they're also developing 5 different hydrogen fueling stations along the Hynor. The Hynor will wrap around the south of Norway, stretching nearly 400 miles from Oslo to Stavanger. 400 miles, that's the width of Kansas, all hydrogen.
It's going to be right here.
This is Ulf. He's excited about Heinor, and you should be glad he is, because he's making the future better.
Our objective is that in 2009 you should be able to drive a hydrogen-fueled vehicle all the way from Oslo in the east to Stavanger in the west.
A dream realized, but the dream goes further. What if that compact electrolysis machine could sit in the middle of nowhere and be charged completely by solar power, offering hydrogen fuel available 24/7?
Solar electrolysis is possible.
The sun makes the electricity. The water makes the hydrogen. The hydrogen powers your car. The car makes more water. A very efficient use of natural resources.